Well, welcome to the vault, Maren. It's
Thanks.
great to have you. So, Leon and I were looking forward all week to getting a chance to chat with you. So, just to go back in time a little bit, like my first experiences with you were when you were going through the ultimate hat collection competition with Lids, and we're gonna get there in a little bit. But listen, I got to tell you, you're someone that certainly helped inspire my social networking presence from what I saw when you were going through that. So I want to thank you for that, first of all, but I also want you to know you had a huge impression on me then, and you still do today, which is why I was super happy to have you on. So I wanted to start with that, Maren.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The contest, it introduced me to tons more people. And that's kind of why I wanted to do it to begin with. So for sure.
Well, we're going to dive in there in a little bit, but I want to get to know, I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, Maren, because I know folks out there would love to get to know you better.
Sure. So I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. And I Kansas City born. All my family went to KU except me. I actually went to the East Coast. I went to Yale for undergrad. So
So you're not very smart.
no, not very smart. But I came home for law school. I went to law school at KU. So now my uncles talk to me again because I have a degree from KU. I practiced for like 6-7 years. Wasn't really loving what I was doing. So one of my buddies opened a soda shop and needed an adult to help him run it, basically. And so there for a while I was just working, and then his general manager left. And so then I took over as the manager, and I run our social media for our stores, our store in Lawrence and our store in Kansas City. And then to kind of activate my more intellectual, less social side, I work for a nonprofit that works in the child welfare system. Wow. So I do that, and I watch a lot of sports, and I collect hats, and I drink soda and cider. I'm not a beer person, but cider.
I'm not a drinker myself, but listen, can I ask you a question? So before we came on the air, did you ever hear of Jason Mead in Lawrence? Because I hear Jason Mead has a bit of a history in the town of Lawrence. So have you heard of him? Is he notorious in that town, or was this just?
I haven't heard of him. I'm excited to know more details about his interaction with the establishment of Lawrence, Kansas. I imagine he was here for a game and something got rowdy. But
I wish I could tell you more, but I don't recall many details.
You don't recall. All right.
I think you laid the smackdown on somebody.
Yeah,
Could be.
There are lots of experiences in Lawrence, Kansas, I think, that end with I don't recall. So it's a fun place to be, for sure.
So Maren, so you know, thanks for that. Now tell us a little bit about why you're so into Kansas City sports. I know you're there, right? But there's something that your connection to the sports teams out there is way deeper than just the average fan. So tell me about that. What got you to that?
So like, my dad is a huge sports fan. Like, as children, we weren't allowed to touch the remote. You know, it was his, and it was on what it was on. And so like, you either got into it or you weren't, you know, watching TV. So my first love is definitely Royals baseball, just baseball in general. Some of my most cherished memories are being out in the GA section, which is now the outfield that Kauffman was renovated after I was a kid. Like, but it's probably like 15 years ago now, I guess. but when I was a kid, GA, there were just 2 sections in the outfield that were general admission.
Yeah.
And they overlooked the bullpen. So I remember like taking my cap off and throwing it down to get autographs in the bullpen and having them throw it back up. And just our family didn't do a lot of activities. So like Royals games were a highlight for sure.
Yeah.
So my dad worked nights, so like when we would go to a Royals game, it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So that, and then I have an older brother, and so he and I both played sports, and just it was something we could talk about as a family, and so. And then KU, like I said, everybody in the family went to KU pretty much. So KU basketball is basically a religion.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. And then as I got older, I was like into football, but then as I got older, the Chiefs we had kind of a decline, but
Yeah.
we're back up there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Super Bowl champs. So, it's just a lot of fun, right? It's something, the thing about sports is it's a community,
Yeah.
just like hat collecting, I would say.
Mhm.
And so, when you're wearing a hat, like the other day I was wearing a Brewers hat and somebody started talking to me about it and they're like, oh, I've never seen that logo before, and are you a Brewers fan? And then he was like, are you a Bucks fan? And I was like, well, actually I'm a Royals fan, but I just like hats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love basketball, so of course I'm a Bucks fan because they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of how it all built. It was family. The Royals a couple years ago did the hashtag raised Royal, and like was something I could totally identify with because a couple of the ones before that were super cheesy.
Yeah.
But like they hit on raised Royal, and I don't think they moved away from it. It's been like 3 years or something.
So Maren, like when I think of Kansas City sports, right? When I think about Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think about the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian.
Yeah, for sure.
When I think about the Royals, I think about George Brett, Bo Jackson, right?
Definitely. When I was in second grade,
Yeah.
they said like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Was your thing, and I drew myself in a Royals uniform, but I said I wanted to be the commissioner of Major League Baseball. That was like the goal when I was little. Kind of took some turns from there, but he's not doing a very good job right now. So maybe
Maybe
knows,
you have a chance.
right?
Maybe that Yale undergraduate education can be transferred over to baseball commissioner, right?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be nice. Maybe I think I'd like to see what happens if you were commissioner. But listen,
It'd be a lot more fun, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I bet it would be. So let me ask you a question, Maren. So like when you think we talked about Kansas, the Royals a little bit, and the Chiefs, and some folks that I remember in those times from those teams. How about KU? Who's your favorite KU basketball player of all time?
All time. So when I was in grad school from 2005 to 2008, and so 2008, my third year in law school, I went to both the Orange Bowl, the ultimate ever of KU football, and ever will be unless Les Miles can work some magic. And I went to the 2008 national title game that went into overtime on Mario's Miracle. But Mario is not my favorite player from that team. My favorite player from that team is Russell Westbrook, the starting point guard from New York, New York. He would put up one or two bad shots a game, but he was just clutch, and he was the glue that held that team together. Mario could sneak for steals because Russell was so fundamental. B-Rush also, Brandon Rush on that team was great. Bill Self used to say he never sat down during a timeout. Like, he was just such a premium athlete, and it's such a shame that he wrecked his knee in that secret workout with the Knicks, because I think he would have stuck in the league more. But he does have a ring with the Warriors, so he is a college champion and an NBA champion. So
I was hoping you were going to say Paul Pierce, but
Paul Pierce is the truth for sure, and the Boston connection I understand. But when I was a kid, probably my favorite player from those teams is Nick Collison, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Iowa boy.
Yeah, Iowa boy. 20 boards, 20 points, pulling in clutch.
Yeah. So Maren, so, we talked a lot about your love of sports. We've talked a lot about, your family, how you spent time with your family around sports and how that really, kind of infused your passion around that. But let's talk a little bit about what got you into hats now. So we've got all that, right? Now, what got you into hats? And I know Leon's about to share one of my favorite slides of today's presentation. So
yeah, so the two on the left, the backwards hat and then the bow, I used that picture during the ultimate hat contest because I was like, hats equal smile, bows equal Maren's not so happy. So basically my hat collection has gone through so many iterations. Both those hats on my head when I'm little were probably my dad's. I think those are both Cardinals hats because he actually was born in St. Louis and so was a Cardinals fan, sort of, until the Royals came, to Kansas City. So, but now we're Kansas City fans. He still watches the Cardinals though. So but Royals fan first. So I definitely, do you remember those hooks that had the clips on them that you would like hang from your ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
So I had like 3 or 4 of those in my room when I was a kid, and it was just like whatever. College hats, baseball hats, just kind of whatever. Not so much fitteds, more like dad hats and those college bar, the white hats, where it said like Kansas and had the bars across it.
Okay. Gartland, maybe? Were those Gartland hats?
I think so. And then there were like American something. I don't remember what it was called, but kind of more snaps there for a while. And then when I was in college, I definitely wore a hat and a hoodie every day in New Haven, Connecticut. It became like a thing. It's cold there, obviously, and it rains a lot. So I'd be like wearing a hat and I'd wear like a winter hat over it. And then my hood would be up to like protect my hat. My friends thought I was completely ridiculous. It was completely ridiculous. That's kind of how I walked around campus pretty much all the time. So, and just when I was out there, I went to Fenway a lot. I went to Yankee Stadium a lot.
Yeah. Well,
so
New Haven
connecting.
kind of centered between the two. So New
Yeah,
Haven, you could hit
exactly. So
Stadium or Boston in an hour and a half either way.
Yeah, so the college would rent a bus. So at Yale, there are residential colleges. It's based off the house system in England. So if you're familiar with like the Harry Potter houses, it's kind of like that. Everybody's divided into their own like
Leon's in Slytherin.
Yeah. So I was in Saybrook College, and the head of our college would buy tickets to at least one Yankees game a semester and one Red Sox game a semester. So I always made sure to sign up. We'd occasionally go to Mets games too. And so actually I went to the first sporting event after 9/11. It was that Mets game. So I was at that amazing event.
Wow. So
it's pretty wild.
Listen,
we just happened to have tickets and the head of the college didn't make us cancel. So we went up on a bus and went. So that was pretty cool for sure.
So Maren, it obviously started young for you. I love the angry picture in the center and I love how you kind of connected those things, right? But listen, your collecting culminated into your participation in the Lids ultimate hat collection competition, right?
Yeah.
And again, going back to what I said before, that was my first like real exposure to you as a collector and also as a personality. So I'd love it. We're going to show our viewers some pictures. I'd love it if you can give a little context behind these.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got to make sure we move through them, kind of quickly, but we want to make sure that we get a good feel for all of these things that we're seeing up here. So
do you want to so I like taking my hats out into the wild, so to speak. Also, my apartment's small, and so like I don't approve of bedspread pics. So going outside is the best. So like we have James Naismith statue. We have Fog Allen statue with KU hats and Sixers hats, respectively. Then the stairwell pick is all the MLB hats, MILB hats I had at the time. I have more than that now. The other stairwell pick is all the other MLB hats I have outside of Royals at the time. Again, it's grown since then. And the picture that really caught Lid's eye was this sleeve emblem that I did out of KC hats and KC affiliate hats. And now we're up to about 6 hat club duffels of KC hats and KC affiliate hats. So it's kind of, I could do a fancier logo now for sure.
So Maren, let me ask a question. Maren, let me ask a question. We're going to go a little deeper into some of those picks, right? But
for sure,
what motivated you to kind of participate, like to put your name into that ring? Because listen, this is not something that's easy to kind of do, right? Like you've got to create videos, you've got to create all this content. Like, so
JB had won the year before. So I got into Team Fitted because Brett Schwartz nominated me. And but before that, I knew JB, Interstate 19, and Brett and a whole bunch of other guys through Twitter, or actually the timeline tears. Blow up your notifications if you join any of those threads, accidentally or on purpose. People don't know how to reply only to one person. So I just at this point kind of scroll through. But JB really encouraged me to enter because he thought I had a breadth of a collection and width of a collection that would show off. So like the one, this is MILB, and then these are like designer non-team hats on the other side. And I just, basically I wanted, I mean, there aren't that many, I mean, there are female collectors, but there aren't a ton. There's like maybe 10 of us in Team Fitted, 5 of us who are like active in Team Fitted. So I kind of wanted to be like, yeah, well, I love hats too. And I love hats for the same reason you love hats. It's the story, it's the history, it's the cool logo. And I really like telling stories. So that's what I tried to do with my posts to get Lid's attention, I'd say, was my captions were always kind of crazy long because I was trying to tie it to like why I wanted those particular hats. Other guys in the contest also really encouraged me, like other people who ended up being finalists, like Dews and Big Rob. They definitely encouraged me to participate because at first I was like, I don't know if I want the drama because like sometimes, you know, there's some drama associated with putting yourself out there. But then I just decided to go for it. So this was my plan, sketched out. I had laid it out in an area where I couldn't get high enough. So then I had to go to another location and relay it out so I could get high enough to really do it. And at this point, I'd like to tweak it and do it again because I have, like I said, I have more hats and, you know, you're never satisfied with what you get. So got to borrow someone's drone and get really above it.
We were talking about that before. That's the only way to get this right, unless there's a catwalk, right? Like that's
right.
And you were telling us the story, which I thought was really cool. Is like there's a stairwell over there, and you had to keep going up. Look,
so I would like. So I was at the store at night, and the security guard kept coming by and like peeping in to be like, "What are you doing?" And so I would like lay everything out, and I'd like, "Oh, okay, I think it looks good," and I go like partially way up the stair, and then I'd be like, "No, I gotta adjust this, I gotta adjust that," and then get higher and higher. Finally, I got as high as I could, and I just leaned out as far as I could to try to get the picture.
You said you got as high as you could. I think that's what happened to Jason out in Lawrence. I'm just kidding, Jason.
Statute of limitations is passed.
So
I think.
So I have obviously I have a lot of patch hats. So when the Royals made the postseason for the first time, you know, Maren went a little buck wild. So a lot of 2014, 2015 hats in here, postseason, World Series champs. So that's why there's so many blue KC on the side.
Yeah.
And then I have some Monarchs hats in there, and just kind of the history, some A's hats, and then affiliate hats too.
Well, you made me and a bunch of my friends spend some money the last time we went to Fan Fest. So
yeah,
thank
so
you for
Fan
that.
Fest is the best.
Yes.
Only place you're gonna still get USA made hats. Happy to help people if they're basically my philosophy on helping people is if I see that they help others, I'm totally down to help.
Yeah.
So
You know, Maren, I'm gonna try and get down there next spring.
So this past year it worked out because Brett actually drove over too, and so he kind of grabbed some stuff for some of the more persnickety collectors who wanted like pictures of every hat rather than just being like, these are the ones I want. The people who wanted like preview pics, I was like, I can't do that this year. I think I spent like, they were like $15 a piece, right, Leon? 12, something
like that. 15, yeah.
15, and I think I spent like $800 on hats. So I was not about to give a preview pic to every hat that I was purchasing.
Also, speaking of 2015, Maren,
yeah.
Jambo wants to know the ball that the bearded kid.
Oh, the Amish guy. Yeah, no. Home run.
That's not a home
run.
run.
He's saying it wasn't.
That is not
dinger,
a home
dinger.
run.
It was gone. And in any case, I'm sorry that your outfielder can't hit the cutoff, man.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
you said it, Maren. I'm not involved in this
Threw
one.
to the wrong base. I don't know what you're doing. So yeah, these pictures. So SD Hat Guy inspired the initial one, the smaller one. He'd done an SD out of his Casey hat. So this, you can kind of see the growth of my collection and post joining Team Fitted and having a problem. So it like this is 1 year, and then that's the one next to it is the next year, and then the sleeve patch is like a year and a half later. So it just explodes when you see people being like, oh yeah, that's dope, let's do this, or like, oh, do you know about this store, or did you see so and so was selling these on eBay or whatever. It just, so we're all pushers for each other. So I'm glad I found my people.
Yeah, so this is some cool stuff here because I think we all know your love for the Jayhawks. So
yeah, so I have season tickets with a friend, so I go to all the home games, men's home basketball games. And what's cool about these are the Hat Club did, like, they don't do very many college hats, so I was super pumped. They did 3 different KU ones, and so I went up on campus and took the picture with the statue that the hat related to. So that's the 1941 Angry Jayhawk, or War Hawk, as some people know it. And then this one is the Centennial Hawk, or the skinny legged bird. That's 1913. And then this is the one that looks the most like an actual bird, and it always sat on that KU. So if I ever get to tell Hat Club what kind of hat I would want, those timeline hats like they did for the Yankees and the D-backs and
the
Chicago,
White Sox and the Cubs.
I want an all-around Jayhawk evolution hat. Be a lot of stitches.
Their design a hat contest is still open. I
know, but it's West Coast left. It's like West Coast, East Coast. I was like, what about us in the middle?
Us flyover states got to represent too.
Yeah, but it's non-trademarked. It's like original logos, so that wouldn't fit. But I agree. Yeah. So again, this is just like out in the community. So that's a mural in Kansas City. I was wearing a Dionic hat. I'm actually in every one of those. It's like Find Maren, Where's Maren in it? And then this pizza shuttle one is in Lawrence. It's like the 2 a.m. pizza spot. And that's a Dionic hat that I bought secondhand off of a guy, Reagan Lee. Some of the dopest old stuff in my collection is from Reagan, including this set of Coca-Cola hats. So like I said, I run a soda shop, so you need the Coca-Cola hats, right? But they're impossible to find. And so Reagan was selling off his collection. These are the UK version. So I bought those for myself for my birthday a couple years ago.
I'm not sure if people realize how rare the hats in this picture are.
Yeah, so I know that Asia did a release and UK did a release. New Era just can't get branded stuff US stateside. I guess it's too expensive to get the rights. So you just have to work those connections. I bought the Luigi hat that's been sitting on my curry for a while.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's a fake because it wasn't very much money, but I guess when it comes, we'll find out if I wasted some money or not. But here, so Negro Leagues Museum. So Kansas City not only has the Royals, we had the Kansas City Monarchs, which were the Yankees of the Negro Leagues, perennial champs. And so when I was doing the UHC contest, no better place to go out than the Negro Leagues Museum. So I put out my Royals hats all along the base paths, and then I took these pictures with the Monarchs hat. So if Justin's thinking about a purple bottom, I want this Negro Leagues Monarchs logo, which I've never seen on a fitted, all black with that logo, purple bottom.
Oh, wow.
And then my favorite hat probably in my collection actually is the all red Kansas City Monarchs hat on top there.
Nice.
It's the first Negro Leagues hat that the Royals wore during a salute to the Negro Leagues game and sold retail. And so it's kind of rare to find. It's a red bottom. So it's an authentic collection that isn't a black under.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a rarity.
And so Ultimate Hat Collection, so after we won or didn't win, they still kind of keep in touch with us and they ask us to like post pics and stuff. And so they sometimes send us things. So last year for opening day, they sent us this hat. So I don't wear it a ton. It's right there because it has, like, for a hat collector who used to really only want USA made, the glued on flag hurts my heart. It fits pretty well, and the stitching in front is good, but the glued on flag kind of hurts my heart. So
not necessarily a highlight in the New Era timeline.
So the scout statue we were talking about before we got on, Kansas City had a hockey team for a couple of years in the 70s, and they were the Kansas City Scouts. And so I like, since then I've taken pictures like Leon's hockey hot dog custom I've taken outside my friend's spot, Leeway Franks. So like I like matching things to like what I'm doing. So that's fun. My minor league collection exploded when I realized that you could spell things with hats. So my goal was to spell my name, and have no problem doing that now. I just need an X, and there's not like a minor league X. I got super excited when Hat Club did the Utica Blue Sox because I got the U, because I was like, how am I ever going to get the U?
Yeah.
And Ludwig. So yeah.
The Sioux City Explorers used to have New Era hats. They don't do them anymore, but hopefully someday. And that's a giant X on the front. Since
the contest, I've basically been kind of taking pics. Like I also like the fit pic. So, and I dabble in collecting shoes. I don't pay above retail. So if I miss a release, then it's sad city, but I just don't roll like that. So, but I like matching stuff up.
Whenever Leon misses something, he cites the god of commerce.
Yeah. And
just
then
kinda touch up to
I
the last
help
one.
run this St. Patrick's Day parade in Lawrence. The parade committee, actually, it's a fundraiser for different children's charities every year. So we have a whole bunch of events leading up to the parade, and the parade is like a thank you to the community. So this is me out on the street with the parade banner in the background, rocking that Dionic, super dope St. Patrick's Day hat. I missed on this year's, so if anyone has a 7 or 7 1/8 floating around that they'd like to pawn off on me, I'd take it.
Same thing with the 8. My seller flopped on me. I had a
Yeah.
deal set up for the 8. So whenever you're ready, Roman. Whenever you're ready.
So yeah. So, and then like I said, Chiefs Pride is running strong, and you know,
Yeah.
Jayhawks, what's not to like there? And so
How far is
when I
that?
was-
How far is that liquor store from Lawrence?
that's not a liquor store. That's the soda shop right
Oh,
there.
it's a soda shop. Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's where I work. Yeah. So those are all sodas in the background. So it's in Lawrence, downtown Lawrence. Anyone wants to roll through, happy to talk hats and talk soda with you. And then the thank you was what I did at the end of the contest when I was like thanking folks for voting and everything. So yeah.
Wow. That was great, Maren. So listen, Maren, if I could ask you a couple of last second questions before we get into the brackets, right? And we're going to keep you on for that because you're used to these brackets being a KU fan. So
For sure.
I watched a lot of these Selection Sunday shows. This Selection Sunday, though, it's a Saturday, and Jason did all the selecting. So this is going to be exciting to see the one man selection show. But
Well, there won't be any leaks this way.
that's true.
That's
That's
right.
true.
No
He
leaks.
wouldn't even share with us. He kept it so tight-lipped. He wouldn't share even with Leon and I. So this should be interesting. It's going to be amazing for Leon and I to actually see this finally. But Maren, a couple of things. So first, I've loved kind of, watching your collection and all the good stuff you bring to community at Team Fitted, and now you're kind of in Team Fitted and in FHS, which is awesome, because I think you're going to provide an opportunity to mentor a lot of newer collectors, and people are gonna see the stuff you post and ask questions and learn from you, which is why I love both groups very much, because one's got these folks that have been in the game for a long time, all of them have, and then in FHS you've got a mix, right? So you get an opportunity to kind of mentor some people and teach. But tell me what you love most about the hat community.
The connections you can make. Like, I have multiple people in Canada and Australia that I consider friends now because of hats. Reagan and Lee down in Australia. Lee was, I was his Secret Santa a couple years ago, and then he ended up being mine this year. And he sent me the dopest package of all kinds of stuff, but ABL stores weren't open yet. So he put in the card, hey, when ABL stores open, let me know what you're wanting. I'll go out and grab stuff for you.
I love that guy.
Grab stuff for you. So
I love that
now
guy.
I have a Melbourne. I already had the blue socks, and I don't remember the other one he grabbed for me. It's a super dope logo.
Maren, you want to hear something crazy? He literally was talking to me about this morning.
Yeah.
He's like, what ABL hats do you have?
Yeah. So he's,
I had to take a picture for him.
yeah, so he's the greatest. So, and then Leon, like, chopping it up, making stuff. He made me a custom. So
That's
it's got
awesome.
the M and the TF up top on a powder, and then it's got my name on the back. Super dope. So Leon Stitch Guy and Leon putting that together. Just the community and just like people who are willing to help, right?
Yeah.
Big Rob in Tulsa getting me international releases, and introducing me to Chase and having Chase grab stuff for me out of Japan, like stuff that you can't, like the Space Jam. I saw that Space Jam hat and I was like, how am I ever gonna get that?
Well, Maren, it's like if the rest of the world was as cohesive and community focused as our hat communities are, I think it'd be a better place in general. But listen, Maren, I couldn't think of a better way for us to highlight a collector than to start that segment with you. So
I appreciate that.
no, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you spending time with us. I also appreciate how much effort you put into sharing all of these great things with us today.
Yeah, no problem.